For this video, I'm going to be using a black and white type of theme, and so anyone wanting to create a painting based on blacks and whites and variants of blacks and whites, this would be a great video for you. Because this video is part of a Halloween collaboration, I am saying that my inspiration is skeletons, which are white, picturing them in a very dark hallway or a very dark house walking around where it would be black, or also ghosts floating in a dark hallway. So this is where I'm coming up for this collaboration with this color scheme. And I have black and white regular acrylic. I just happen to have these left over, so I just pulled them out and am using them. I also have iridescent graphite, which is a dark gray, and it's got a shimmer to it, and I really like this color with black and white. I'd like to thank Donna of the channel It's Art by Donna for putting together this amazing collaboration and all the hard work that she's done. I'd like to thank August of August Acrylic Art for the fabulous introduction of this video. Thank you, August. And please follow us next to Alessa and Brett's channel of Pinned on Places. They do amazing, fabulous videos, and some of their locations are ooky spooky, so let's be sure to go there together and check out all of the presentations from the various content creators. My consistency is, I guess it might be mound on a mound. It's not the thickest I've ever used for a ring type of pour. I'm going to be doing a wandering ring pour in this painting, but I feel that this consistency will do the job just fine. So I think I'm going to use 2 different cups for my wandering ring pours. I want one of them to be a little bit more white and one of them to be a little bit darker. Alright, so I'm going to make my darker cup first. Well, when I was younger, I didn't believe really in ghosts, and I overall had the belief, the overall opinion, that people that said that they had spooky experiences with ghosts were either imagining them and they weren't really real, or they were BSing about them just to get attention. But as I got older, I ended up with a few experiences of my own, which then did cause me to look back at some of the other stories that I had heard people tell me years before in some cases, and I really had a different viewpoint at that point in time. For example, my aunt, uncle, and cousins moved into a new home, new to them home, in Sylmar, California, from where they had been living, and they had a lot of really interesting ghost stories to tell while they lived in that house, and I did really not believe them. I thought that they were making it up. But once I started having some of my own experiences, I kind of also looked at the fact that they had never claimed any ghost stories prior to living in that house, nor did they ever talk about any after they moved out of that house, and they also did not stay in that house very long, and all their other homes that they lived in, I do believe they stayed in them for a much longer period of time, and I do think that their short span at that one place in Sylmar was because of the ghost activity that I really do believe was rightfully there. So one time, my cousin, my female cousin, told me that she had gotten up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, and when she came out in the hallway, and this was a 2-story house, and when she came out in the hallway, there was, she could see a woman, you know, kind of like you would see depicted in some old movies, where it looks like a woman, but it's all in kind of like this white, sort of foggy, kind of misty look that she's created. And she could see that she was wearing an old-fashioned type of dress, and she went into detail, my cousin went into detail about the story about how this ghostly woman was in front of this wall heater. There was like a wall heater thing that was in the hall, and you know, and of course it spooked my poor cousin, and the other members of the family had also talked about various ghost stories or ghost experiences that they had with this ghostly woman in the hallway. And I definitely have had some of my own, and the more intuitive and sensitive energetically I've become, the more I have actually experienced in different locations. So I think part of if we experience things from the unseen world depends upon, at least in part, to our own sensitivity level. So I'm not talking about even necessarily spooky hauntings, because sometimes we can have an awareness of a presence, or we can even have spiritual smelling and smell certain scents that might relate to someone that we may have known who's passed over, and these can actually become experienced by us if we develop our intuition and become a little bit more sensitive. And so I have certainly had some experiences like that in, I would say, the past maybe like 20 years, maybe a little bit more, but 20 years for sure. And I'll see if there's any more that I can get out over here. Again, as a flow extender more than anything else. I think this is going to be rather fascinating. Not sure if I'll like it in the end, but I think it's going to be a fascinating experiment in any case. All right, I'm going to get my torch, and I'm going to just see if I can release any air bubbles. In my final result. So I'm going to tilt this. I'm going to bring this down because I need more coverage in this lower left and that upper right corner than I do the sides at this point. So I'm just going to get this paint. I'm tilting very slowly so I can control it. And I'm going to come at a diagonal because I think that might make a better layout. And I'm going to go in this direction. Ooh, that's kind of neat. Well, I think that's quite fascinating. So I just have to touch up my corners now. So originally what I was planning to do was take some of that extreme sheen and then drop in little drops, but I was imagining the look to be quite different than it is now, and I really like how it is. So I'm actually not going to use the extreme sheen after all. I don't know if there's really enough here to get out, but so by taking out what I can from the cup, as long as there's enough to where it doesn't get all mushed together, then I have noticed for myself anyway that if I can use something like that, then I can touch up the sides in a way that looks a little bit more natural to what the paint would have done had the paint flowed over from the composition that's on top. So that's why I like to do it, but I will scoop it out very carefully so that I don't mix it together too much and make mud. So now I'm just taking a bit of the black by itself and I poured it on the spoon there. I do like my sides to look as natural as possible, you know, so that it's not very obvious that I really came along and touched them up. I really like how this came out. Again, it's much different than what I was imagining, but I really like it. Alright, so it looks like I've got a lot more coverage on this side. But I'm going to bring some of this over here because I don't totally love that, how that initial bit was up in there that I did, but I like that a lot better. So just taking a couple moments and really just getting this to where I'd really like it. Oh, that's so neat, isn't it? I wish I could put it somewhere without really changing that though, because I really like this. Alright, so I do need to touch up this side because there's not much paint over here. And of course you always want to scrape under your edges. I absolutely love this. This is so flippin' cool. I could not be more pleased with the outcome. Look at these lines. I love how this turned out. This is so fantastic. I could not be more pleased. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Please give a thumbs up if you like this and consider subscribing if you like my content. And remember to follow us to the channel called Pinned on Places. We're going to go meet Alessa and Brett over there and see what location they have cooked up for us in this ooky spooky Halloween collaboration. See you there!